Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Monday, June 28th, 2017. Welcome, and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Ora News, where we bring you today's top stories, translated into English every weeknight. The parliamentary elections were held on June 25th. The election result was declared 47 hours after the election process. The chairman of the Central Election Commission, Clemens Guri, declared that the election results in a press conference yesterday, declaring 1,613,087 eligible voters took part in the parliamentary elections, or 46.72%. According to the preliminary result that has arrived electronically at the Central Election Commission, the valid numbers of ballot papers is 1,580,778. Socialist Party received 763,999 votes, or 48.33%, which is 74 seats in the 140-seat parliament. The Democratic Party in opposition received 455,481, or 28.81%, which is 43 seats. The Socialist Movement for Integration received 225,678 votes, or 14.28%, which is 19 seats in Parliament. The Party for Justice, Integration and Unity received 75,938 votes, or 4.8%, which is 3 seats in Parliament. The Social Democratic Party received 14,988 votes, or 0.95%, equaling to 1 seat in Parliament. All the other parties received 44,661 votes in total, or 2.8% of votes. The Prime Minister and Chairman of the Socialist Party, Edi Rama, gave the victory speech yesterday afternoon at Skanderbeg Square, where the victory celebration for winning the June 25th elections was held. Prime Minister Edi Rama addressed his supporters, saying that he will rule the party without making distinctions between the parties and by cooperating with the opposition, stating, "The citizens voted for the future, saying with their vote that Albania stands above the left wing and the right wing, that the state does not belong to power holders but to the citizens. People chose the Socialist Party to lead the country alone. There is no socialist or democratic challenge, but Albanian challenge. The victory belongs to Albania, and the merit goes to the common people, while the great burden of responsibility to their elected people. We should not see our opponents as enemies and treat them as such. It's time to raise the national flag above the flag of every political party. It's time to work together. The future we want can be achieved through our cooperation." The Prime Minister also praised the DP chairman's decision to reach the political agreement on May 18th, saying, "I want to thank Lulzim Basha for putting the interests of Albania above the party interests. We believe that the agreement carries the opposition and government united for the interests of the country on its journey toward Europe." After the voting ballots were closed on Sunday, June 25th at 8 p.m., Ora News presented the results of the exit poll conducted by IPR Marketing and Ora News. The director of IPR Marketing, Antonio Noto, publicized the results, declaring that the Socialist Party will receive 71 to 74 seats in Albanian Parliament. Receiving 45 to 49% of votes in the Democratic Party will receive 43 seats, receiving 30 to 34% of votes. The Socialist Movement for Integration with 11 to 15%, the Labour Party with 0.5 to 2.5% of votes, and the Party for Justice, Integrity and Unity with 0 to 2%. Mr. Noto expressed his conviction that the exit poll results showed the victory of the Socialist Party and that he wanted to tell the results to the Albanian people. News and IPR Marketing have precisely predicted the victory even in the previous elections. For this reason, the exit poll has been commented by the international media, providing the excellent quality of the cooperation between the IPR Marketing and Ora News. Over 300 students and observers engaged on Sunday, June 25th for the exit poll, despite the high temperatures. Thanks to serious work in the field and to the persistence of the president of Ora News, Mr. Ulin Droci, a professional commitment for the exit poll, the election results were once again predicted correctly. One day after the elections, the OSCE Presence issued its preliminary report, drafts based on the findings of 304 international observers who monitor the whole electoral process. The statement says, "The June 25th parliamentary elections in Albania took place following a political agreement between the leaders of the Socialist Party and the Democratic Party that secured the participation of the opposition. The electoral contestants were able to campaign freely and fundamental freedoms of assembly and expression were respected. The implementation of the political agreement, however, created challenges for the election administration and resulted in selective and inconsistent application of the law. The continued publicization of election-related bodies and institutions, as well as widespread allegations of vote buying and pressure on voters, reduced public trust in the electoral process. Roberto Batelli, special coordinator and leader of the short-term OSCE observer mission, stated, "In light of this, it is disappointing that so much of what we observed was a repetition of past practices, in particular, concerns related to pressure on voters, creating a negative atmosphere. I hope the new government will engage in serious efforts to improve this key aspect of free and fair elections." The campaign presented a variety of political options and was significant throughout the country. Although widespread allegations of vote buying, concerns over misuse of state resources, and workplace-related pressure on voters further undermined public trust. Some 40% of candidates were women, and women were active in the campaign. Several campaign events specifically targeted women voters. Media provided the electorate with extensive campaign coverage and a range of political opinions. Election day proceeded in an orderly manner, but key procedural irregularities and omissions were observed, including inconsistent inking verification procedures, instances of proxy and group voting, and interference by unauthorized party activists. Concerns were noted about possible intimidation by groups of party activists in and around voting centers, the statement says. Counting procedures were not always followed, and transparency was not guaranteed. The CEC operated transparently with regular public sessions and completed its core tasks despite the complex set of legal, institutional, financial, and administrative challenges that followed the political agreement. The U.S. Embassy to our country and the European Union reacted to election process in Albania. The United States Embassy issued a statement to the media congratulating the citizens of Albania for their exercising their democratic right to vote in parliamentary elections on June 25, 2017. Voting was conducted efficiently and peacefully in the majority of polling locations. We commend the dedicated poll workers and observers who worked through a national holiday in extreme heat to carry out their duties. International observers witnessed incidents of vote buying, photographing of ballots, and intimidation of voters. Elections officials and law enforcement responded to many of these complaints, resulting in some arrests. While some electoral violations witnessed were serious and should be addressed, they were not so widespread as to change the overall outcome of the elections, reads the U.S. Embassy statement. Meanwhile, the High Representative of the European Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, Vice President of the European Commission, Federica Mogherini, and the EU Commissioner for European Neighborhood Policy and Enlargement Negotiations, Johannes Hahn, said in a joint statement that Albania's June 25th parliamentary elections took place in a calm and orderly manner. The EU Foreign Policy Chief Mogherini and Commissioner Hahn noted that citizens benefited from a broad political offer at an important stage of Albania's EU integration process, saying, "According to the preliminary conclusions of the OSCE ODIHR election observation mission, the electoral contestants were able to campaign freely and fundamental freedoms of assembly and expression were respected. The electoral framework generally provided an adequate basis for the conduct of democratic elections. We take note of the reserves expressed by observers regarding the politicization of electoral bodies and the inconsistent application of the law. We expect appropriate follow-up to the preliminary findings of the election observation mission will be ensured, notably regarding allegations of vote buying and pressure on voters, as well as interference by unauthorized party activists, which can undermine public confidence in elections." Once the electoral process has been completed, they go on saying Mogherini and Hahn express readiness to engage with the new government to support the reform process and proceed on EU integration. The continuation of the justice reform and the fight against drug trafficking and cultivation will be of particular importance in this respect. The two also look forward to continuing our partnership with Albania to promote regional cooperation and good neighborly relations, reads the statement issued by the EU representatives. The Democratic Party chairman, Lulzim Basha, has not resigned from the position of the Democratic Party leaders after the defeat in parliamentary elections, but he has given up his competences and has ordered the two vice chairmen of the party's general secretary, to prepare for the elections of the new chairman. Yesterday, in a press conference, considered the elections to be a triumph of the illegality. DP chairman expressed gratitude to all supporters and all those who voted for his electoral platform, saying, "My project was backed by ordinary people I have met all over the country, people who had lost their future because of the state's injustice." They also made several claims about the illegality of the election process, stating, "The parliamentary elections were marred by vote buying with dirty money coming from crime. Something went wrong in the June 25th parliamentary elections despite our efforts insisting on implementation of the decriminalization law, the uncompromised fight against drug trafficking, and by forcing Edi Rama, the Prime Minister, to remove half of his cabinet members through the mediation of the international partners. Again, the dirty money and crime were unstoppable." The Democrats and Albanian citizens deserve a full analysis and open and true debate between those who worked for the DP victory and those who turned against the party as soon as they lost their chairs. I have decided to give up all my function as chairman of the Democratic Party and delegate such powers to the two DP vice chairmen and the Secretary General to organize elections for the party leadership, declared the DP chairman. 2 days after the loss in parliamentary elections, members of the Democratic Party will vote for the new chairman of the party on July 22nd. The current Democratic Party chairman, Lulzim Basha, has given up his function as DP leader until the party members vote for a new chairman. It has been learned that the Democratic MP Edward Selami has declared his candidacy for the party chairman. Mr. Selami held a meeting with the group members that is preparing for the electoral process to elect the Democratic Party's chairman. He had this to say to the media after he left the Democratic Party headquarters. "I did not meet with the DP chairman, but with the work group. We will give a press conference this afternoon, but all I can say is we will come out stronger from this democratic process." Meanwhile, the Democratic Party has issued a notification announcing the opening of the electoral process. The document is signed by the Vice Chairman Edmond Spajo and Edi Paloca. The elections for the Democratic Party chairman are set to be held on July 22nd. Candidates who want to run for the DP chairman's position should present their request until July 2nd. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again, Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Cosmo K, and on behalf of Ora News, thank you and good night.